so now I'm delighted to be joined by Angus Kincaid, who's the heir to Clan Kincaid. So Angus, good morning, and thank you for joining us at the Scottish North American Community Conference and our first panel today.
Good morning, or good afternoon, as I would say over here.
So we're looking, we've just heard from Charles Lord Bruce, who is spearheading the Standing Council project of the Heirs project. And he has explained to us how you are one of those that are helping to lead the charge of helping other young heirs as they come along. Your mother at the moment is the head of the Clan Kincaid, which again is an unusual thing. Not all titles passing through the female line. So let's turn this over to you. And if you could tell us a little bit about how you're being prepared, how your mother was prepared, and how you feel this whole project is important.
Well, thanks very much, Camilla. It's an absolute pleasure to be here talking with you guys today. As you briefly alluded to, Mum is the current chief, which is not regular, though it's never been an issue in Scottish history having female chiefs. The Clan Kincaid has had two female chiefs, for the most recent heads of the family. And so after a few generations, I'm hoping to show that a chap can do it as well. But I think Mum inherited quite young as well, relatively young. When going to the homecoming in 2009, I remember seeing most of the clan tents all with generally quite an elderly chief, and then Mum was there in stark contrast from that. There was a funny article which was published in the Scotsman saying, listing all the female clan chiefs, and the most glamorous of whom was Arabella Kincaid of Kincaid. So Mum definitely didn't look to me like the stereotypical or classical Scottish chief. I think for me, I remember Mum and Dad sitting me down at home, aged about 8 or 9, and explaining the chief thing to me and saying, you're the oldest child, so it's going to be coming to you next. Do you want it? And I instinctively, I think, as a people pleaser, and as someone who was interested in it, just definitely said yes. I was always interested, but what does it actually mean? I think younger generations these days are all not as engaged in their past as their parents have been. I think that happens across all cultures, everywhere. And I remember being a young boy, being told to go to a wedding or a church service or something, aged about 5 or 6, being told to wear my tartan trews, and I was so desperate to not wear them that I chose, I think, every single other pair of trousers in my wardrobe to try and not wear them. Anyway, I was simply told to go back upstairs enough times until I came back down with the shoes on. But I think everyone's priorities change over time. Everyone has highest priorities, and those do morph as you grow older, be that kind of work or school or dancing or singing or university or sport or ancestry. And as a young boy, I used to find things that my parents found interesting really quite boring as well. I didn't want to go out and have long lunches and go and pore over family trees and look at old dusty books. I didn't want to, but now some of those, talking to Kincaids and talking to fellow Scots and Scots around the world is some of my favorite things to do. So I think to young children and to young adults, adult stuff, if I can use that, it is boring. But I think when children are in those teenage years or early, like late teenage years, early teenage years, and kind of definitely early 20s, there's a space for kind of sociable inclusion of them into your interests, kind of your interest as a parent or as a grandparent, I think. I've spoken to two Kincaid clansmen about this, both in very different circumstances. One of which was when I was in Australia. I was on the phone to another Kincaid who was mentioning that he wanted his son to be a bit more interested in it, and I remember him talking to me about that, and I remember meeting another Kincaid at Grandfather Mountain Highland Games when I was there in 2019, who also brought along his son to say, look, this is what it can be like. This is the Scottish ancestry. This is what your history was. So I think there's, I know, and I hope when I grow up and have children, that my children will also follow the same interests as me, but how to do it. I think that's kind of where the Heirs project fits in, is this slow social level of inclusion of children, young adults, into family tradition, into history, and be able to leave them wanting slightly more, rather than shoving it all down their throats as yours as a parent or grandparent's interest.
I think the really big thing and that we're very enthused by over here in the United States or around the world is the energy that the Standing Council is giving to being more engaged with us, more directly engaged, and being over here, because it's wonderful when you do come over and we can see you, not just for your clan, but for the community. It means so much. And when you get involved in a project, and I think that is now the leadership within the Standing Council is very much aware of that now. And so I just want to say thank you to you for what you do. Because I'm involved with the Tartan Day Parade in particular, up in New York, and a Tartan Day around the United States. And having you involved, and the clans gathering now in New York for the parade, we had over 35 last year, is fabulous. I know it's not 120 or 140 like they have down at Grandfather, but it's just a reason for everybody to get together.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think those celebrations, all celebrations of Scottish culture, that's the reason why we do it. That's the reason why, if there wasn't any interest in Scottish clans, then there'd be no point in having a standing council. So I absolutely love my role within it, although I'm not a chief yet, and I hope not to be for a long time, because I quite like my mother being alive. But
well, like Charles, I mean, he's fabulously, Lord Bruce is fabulously engaged with the whole community, and he's another in waiting. And I mean, I think that's the thing. We hope that you, as heir apparents, will get more involved over here, because definitely. Why shouldn't you be?
Definitely, I completely agree. And I think Clan Kincaid has been super supportive of that in the past, and I look forward to meeting more of the Kincaids over there and over here in the future. Definitely.
So if there's anything we can do to help, I know that COSCA are also one of the leading advocates of this program. So we're going to hear from John Belisai shortly as well on some remarks. But I think that it's just know that we're all in the diaspora is grateful to you, and it's wonderful when you're here.
Well, we see you as family, and we absolutely love spending time with you. And likewise, if anyone wants to get in touch, I think you'll have my contact details or an email address or something on the program. So,
are you traveling to? Is your mother or you traveling this year?
I haven't. There's been talk about it. I need to get on the phone to Mum about that at some point. There has been a bit of talk. So hopefully that's not just talk. Hopefully we'll get a chance to come over the pond.
Well, keep us updated. And thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, always.
Thank you.